Okay, buckle up folks. Today on the Mysteria Archive, we delve into the simulation hypothesis. Are we trapped in a fake reality? Get ready for a wild ride. What if everything you've ever known, your family, your friends, your entire life, wasn't real? What if the world around you was just an illusion, a highly advanced simulation designed to keep you distracted while something or someone else pulls the strings? Sounds like something out of the Matrix, right? Well, some of the greatest scientific minds actually think it's possible. And if that's true, who or what is running the simulation? Now this one blows my mind. Can you imagine if this is all really just a fake reality? I mean, what does that even mean, and does it even matter? Let's find out. The origin of the simulation hypothesis. Where did this idea come from? The idea that we might be living in a fake reality isn't new. In fact, some of the greatest philosophers in history have suggested it before. Let's start with Plato. Over 2,000 years ago, he wrote The Allegory of the Cave, a story about prisoners who lived their whole lives chained inside a cave, watching shadows on a wall. To them, those shadows were reality, but in truth, they were just projections of something greater. Sound familiar? Now let's fast forward to René Descartes, the guy who gave us I think, therefore I am. He suggested that an evil demon, a super intelligent being, could be manipulating all of our senses, tricking us into believing in a false reality. And then there's Nick Bostrom. In 2003, Bostrom wrote a paper that broke the internet, The Simulation Argument. He said that if a simulation ever got advanced enough to simulate reality, they would. And if just one of those simulations existed, there would be millions. Meaning, the odds that we are in the real base reality are almost zero. So, if philosophers, scientists, and mathematicians all think we're in a simulation, what's the evidence? Alright, let's be real. Look, philosophers have loved messing with people's minds for centuries. And Plato basically told us, hey guys, what if life is just shadows on a wall? And everyone just nodded like, damn deep. Then Descartes comes in, oh yeah, what if a demon is controlling your brain? And now modern scientists are just like, actually, it's an alien supercomputer and you're an NPC in a cosmic video game. Fantastic. So, what I'm hearing is nothing is real, we might be Sims, and someone is controlling us with a glitchy AI. Well, great. Let's keep going before I have an existential crisis. The science of simulated reality. Do we have proof? Okay, philosophy is one thing, but what does science say? Well, science says some really weird stuff. Let's start with quantum weirdness. Scientists discovered that tiny particles behave differently when we observe them. When no one is looking, they act like a wave, spread out and undefined. But the second we observe them, they collapse into solid matter, as if the simulation is only rendering what we're watching. Then there's the pixelated universe theory. If our world was truly infinite, then space should be seamless. But it's not. Scientists have found that the universe has a limit, like a video game that can only render so much detail at once. And what about cosmic speed limits? Why does light travel at a fixed speed, 186,000 miles per second, and never faster? Or could it be that the universe is programmed that way? And here's the kicker. Some scientists say that the entire universe might be encoded in mathematical structures, almost like lines of code in a giant program. So, if this is a simulation, who programmed it? Okay, so let's get this straight. Now, particles act like they know they're being watched. The universe has a built-in resolution limit, like a TV screen with a max pixel count. And light speed works like a physics engine in a video game. At this point, I'm just waiting for a scientist to say, yeah, if you click through a wall, you can actually see the source code. Honestly, if I find out the cheat code for infinite money, I am using it. Now, before we start glitching out, let's talk about actual glitches in reality. Glitches in the Matrix, evidence we're in a simulation. If we're in a simulated reality, then sometimes the simulation should glitch, right? Well, maybe it already has. Let's start with the Mandela effect. Millions of people remember things differently than how they are recorded in history. Did the Monopoly Man have a monocle? Nope. Was it Berenstain Bears or Berenstain Bears? Did Sinbad star in a movie called Shazam? Apparently not, but a lot of people remember it. If memories were just faulty, we should all be making random mistakes. But instead, millions of people are remembering the exact same thing wrong, as if the simulation was edited but the old version left traces behind. Then there's déjà vu. Scientists say it's just a brain hiccup. But what if it's actually a momentary reset in the simulation? What if your consciousness accidentally loops just for a second before continuing? And finally, strange coincidences and impossible events. Have you ever thought about someone and they suddenly text you? Ever seen impossible symmetry in nature, like a face on Mars or identical cloud formations? Ever had something vanish only to reappear in the exact same place you checked 5 times already? If our world was just a program, wouldn't we expect to see bugs, glitches, and memory errors? And if that's the case, who is debugging reality? All right, let's talk about the Mandela effect. And millions of people remember the same thing wrong, and we're just supposed to shrug it off. That's like your computer randomly deleting files and Microsoft going, yeah, that is normal. And déjà vu? Are you telling me my brain just accidentally replays a moment for no reason? Right. And sometimes NPCs in video games just stand there staring at walls for no reason. Coincidences? Please. I once thought about ordering a pizza and 5 minutes later my phone got a Domino's ad. If the simulation is glitching, I'd really like the developers to fix some things. Like, can we get some updates for flying cars? But let's keep going, because if the simulation is real, who is running it? Who or what is running the simulation? Okay, let's assume for a moment that we are inside a simulation. That raises the biggest question of all. Who's running it? There are a few possibilities, each more mind-blowing than the last. Theory 1. An advanced AI created us. What if the simulation isn't run by a civilization at all, but by an artificial intelligence? Imagine a hyper-advanced AI created by now extinct species running a simulation of past civilizations to learn what went wrong. Or worse, what if we're just NPCs in an AI's infinite experiment? Theory 2. A future civilization is studying the past. Nick Bostrom's theory suggests that if a civilization ever becomes advanced enough, they will create simulations. But why? Maybe we're just a digital recreation of history, a way for a post-human society to study their ancestors. Think about it. Have you ever felt like history is strangely repetitive? And maybe it's because it keeps happening in different versions of the simulation. Theory 3. Aliens are running the experiment. If we didn't create the simulation, maybe it was created for us. What if aliens, being from a higher dimension, are studying how intelligent life evolves? Or are we just a cosmic petri dish, a galactic science project for some advanced interdimensional race? And here's the scariest thought. What if the simulation has already run before, and we've failed every time? All right, let's break this down. Now, if an AI is running this simulation, that means we're all just NPCs with slightly better graphics, like we're the GTA characters who think they have free will, while some cosmic player is just messing with us for fun. And if future humans are running the simulation, well, great. That means we're basically history homework for some teenager in the year 40,000. But my favorite theory? Aliens. Please let it be aliens. Because if that's true, I'd love to know what grade we're getting on this experiment. If Earth is some alien kid's science project, I have a feeling we are barely passing. All right, let's keep going. If this is a simulation, does the universe show signs of being programmed? The artificial universe. Does the cosmos look engineered? If we're in a simulation, there should be clues hidden in the fabric of reality. And there are. First up, mathematical patterns in nature. Why does the universe follow strict laws? The universe isn't random chaos. It follows precise mathematical formulas. From the golden ratio in flowers to the Fibonacci sequence in galaxies, nature behaves suspiciously like a programmed system. Secondly, fractal reality. Everything looks like a scaled copy. Ever noticed how galaxies, hurricanes, neurons, and even river networks all look identical? That's called fractality, a feature often used in computer-generated simulations. Is it coincidence, or is it reality using procedural generation like the video game Terrain engine? And thirdly, cosmic censorship. Are we being blocked from seeing reality? Scientists have noticed that the closer we get to understanding the fabric of the universe, the more reality pushes back. For example, black holes hide what's inside them with an event horizon. The Planck length is the smallest possible unit of measurement, almost like the universe has a resolution limit. Every time we get close to proving something about reality, physics mysteriously stops us from going further. Is that by design? And if so, what are we not supposed to see? Okay, if this is a simulation, then I've got some complaints for the programmers. First off, why do I need sleep? Seriously, if I'm just code, why does my avatar require 8 hours of maintenance per day? Also, why is reality full of repeating patterns? And why does my brain look like a galaxy? Why does the Roman snail shell follow the same math as the Milky Way? At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if I zoomed in on a leaf and found it was made of ones and zeros. All right, now here's the real question. If this is a simulation, can we escape? Can we escape the simulation? Is this a prison? Is there a way out? If the simulation is real, is there a way out? Or worse, are we even supposed to leave? Philosophical theories on breaking free. Is self-awareness the key? Some philosophers argue that the moment you realize you're in a simulation, you start breaking its rules. That's why some people claim to have woken up from reality, feeling like everything is scripted. Out-of-body and near-death experiences. Have people briefly exited the simulation? People who have had near-death experiences report seeing the other side, a world beyond this one. Some describe floating above their bodies, watching everything from a different dimension. Could these be temporary escapes from the simulation? The ultimate question, do we even want to escape? Let's say you found a way to leave the simulation. Would you do it? Would you abandon everything and everyone you've ever known? Because if this reality is fake, the real one could be worse. Or, what if you wake up in another simulation? If we are trapped inside a reality that keeps looping, then leaving may not even be possible. So, let me get this straight. Some people believe that if you become aware of the simulation, you start breaking free from it. Okay, great. Then explain why I still have to pay taxes. And the near-death experience theory? If dying gets me out of the simulation, I'm going to need to read the terms and conditions first. And finally, would I even want to leave? I mean, I like pizza. What if outside the simulation pizza doesn't exist? At this point, I'd rather just level up inside the game instead of trying to break it. But here's the real question. If we're in a simulation, is it about to reboot? The simulation reset. Are we heading toward a system reboot? Let's say we're inside a simulation. That raises a terrifying possibility. What if the simulation is about to reset? History is full of mysterious collapses, entire civilizations wiped out overnight. Think about it. The Mayan civilization disappeared with no clear explanation. The Library of Alexandria, one of the greatest collections of knowledge, was burned to the ground. The Dark Ages erased centuries of progress, setting humanity back hundreds of years. What if these weren't just random disasters, but system resets? And here's where it gets even creepier. Throughout history, people have warned of a coming end of the world, the Great Flood, the Mayan 2012 prophecy, the technological singularity. What if these aren't predictions or destruction, but warnings that the simulation is nearing another reboot? Are we heading toward a global game over moment? And if the simulation resets, will we even remember? Or will time simply restart, history rewrite itself, and we'll just keep playing the same game over and over again? Alright, so now we're saying that history itself might be in a loop. Well, that explains why I feel like I've seen everything before. But seriously, we're still arguing about the same things, fighting the same wars, making the same mistakes. It's like humanity is stuck in a bad sequel that just keeps getting rebooted. And if the simulation does reset, will I get a better character build next time? Because I'd like a bit more charisma and way less debt. But here's the real question. If we're heading for a reset, is it possible we're already inside one? And if so, what happens next? The final question, what if this is just the beginning? If we're in a simulation, what happens when we wake up? Because if this reality is fake, then the real question is, what comes next? Let's say we somehow escape the simulation. Will we wake up in a lab? Will we find ourselves in another simulation? Or will we discover that we were the ones running it all along? Because here's the scariest idea of all. What if we are already creating our own simulations right now? Think about it. We build video game worlds that look more real every year. We're developing AI that can think and learn on its own. We're moving towards virtual reality, augmented consciousness, and digital immortality. What if we're the ones creating the next simulation? And one day, the beings inside it will start asking the same questions we are. Maybe this isn't the first simulation. Maybe it's just one of many. And maybe it never truly ends. Okay, so let's recap. Not only are we possibly trapped in a simulation, but now there's a chance we're about to create one of our own. I mean, I can barely handle one reality. Now I have to worry about infinite stacked ones. What if this is just a long, elaborate chain of simulations all running on top of each other? And at this point, I just want to meet the developer. Like, who programmed me and why did they make me like pizza so much? Without pineapple, obviously. But here's the real question. If this is a simulation and we're about to create another one, are we gods? Are we just controlling a cycle that never ends? That is something to think about. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Please let me know what you'd like to see covered in the comments below. And please like and subscribe and all that good stuff. It's free and really helps out our small little channel. Okay, friends, until next time, stay curious.